Most dementia residents of the elderly generation here in New Zealand have been very community focused in their day with their children, with Boy Scouts and Girl Guides, and taking the girls to netball and the boys to rugby, and both swimming in the summertime. And also when they've got older, they've often joined either Rotary or Lions or Zonta, some of them even participating in Meals on Wheels. And then crisis centres here in New Zealand are run often by voluntary people. That takes a lot of cognition and community focus. So this ethos of helping the community and helping others comes through to the dementia unit. So most dementia residents do want to help others, and they do make their best effort to do so once they're settled, the men with meet and greet and the women with creating friends and discussing things at workshops and in front of television. One big thing that happens each morning, of course, is with the men doing their meet and greet circuits around the corridors. And a lot is done, and a lot more can be done with this meet and greet circuit around the corridor each morning, because corridors are a big space. Well, actually, the floor space isn't that big, I have to say, because it can get very crammed up, actually, because if you've got people on walkers going one way and people's on walkers coming the other way, they're slow at walking, and there's fast independent walkers behind them who want to get through, maybe urgently to go to the toilet. There's often no room for the independent walkers to walk through past the other walkers, especially if they stop to have a chat. Then it can all become quite, congested. So actually the floor space isn't that sufficient often. But the wall space, once again, just like in the bedrooms, that lovely wall space, floor space, limited wall space, use it, is used to a certain extent in dementia units. Those long, big corridors do have nice pictures, but they're really not relevant to dementia residents, really, and their cognition and history in New Zealand. Mostly the pictures are of, African elephants, or the azure Aegean Sea in Greece with the little white, lovely as they are, little white homes clinging to the hillsides. I mean, they're lovely for movies, those pictures, but for dementia residents, they need to have pictures that will encourage them and support them and remind them and bring them back to recognition of their history of New Zealand, really. So it would be much better if they had pictures of New Zealand, typical, beautiful pictures of New Zealand that dementia residents know about, like the Southern Alps or Queenstown or Milford Sound. I mean, all dementia residents know about the Southern Alps and the beautiful skiing that goes on. So in the lovely, glorious mountains and the beaches, I mean, everywhere in New Zealand, and all the batches, red, blue and white, all along the seashore, and children with their sand castles and people swimming in the sea. And that's very Kiwiana, pavlova and jandals and all that. Quarter-acre sections. That's good if there could be pictures like that all around the corridor. Then the dementia residents would be able to speak about their summer holidays, for example, at the beach, so that when they're met by the charming man and said, meeting and greeting in the morning, and they're standing by a lovely picture of the beach Sumner that they know, and, in the picture there's children building sandcastles, then there's much more chance that that person can then engage with the man who's greeted her, or their lady, and say, oh, we did that as children too. We used to go to that beach, or say something around that topic, like, oh, it's a beautiful sunny day at the beach. The children loved it, or I love the sun, or whatever. So the picture actually acts like a screen, a memory screen that the people can tap into to discuss things with. And also the same thing, the map of New Zealand. Everyone knows, all dementia residents know the map of New Zealand. So if you've got, say, either the North Island and the South Island separate pictures, or even just New Zealand as a whole, it's quite long and skinny. It could just be like the North Island at the top of the bars that go along the dementia unit corridor, and then the other side of New Zealand could be on the other side, the South Island, or whatever arrangement. But the main thing is that they could be there to discuss as a communicating point, because dementia residents spend a lot of time in the corridors. A lot of time. I mean, they're always going back and forward to the toilet 5 times a day. And that's a lot of time. I mean, it takes them 5-10 minutes to get to their room half the time, 5-10 minutes back. That's a good hour in the corridor just walking there, struggling away, half of them. And then if they stop and have a conversation, that could be an hour and a half a day in the corridors. And so to be able to pick up on the walls and what's happening is, a good place for cognition to be activated. Now, there's other things that can happen in the corridor which aren't happening yet. I mean, I must say though, I did go to a dementia unit recently, and they did have pictures of New Zealand rather than Africa and Greece on the walls. I was really happy about that. So that is happening. But in units I've actually worked in, I haven't seen that yet, but hopefully that will happen. Now, there's 2 other things that could happen in corridors that would be really helpful. Firstly, is pictures that inspire and encourage the residents. Now, the first one is the Queen. It would be really good if there could be a picture of the Queen in a dementia unit, because residents, the elderly residents, love Queen Elizabeth II, and she's such a role model for them. She's so gracious and kind and generous and strong and sacrificing, there for them their whole life. She's been there for them. Sadly, of course, died, she's died recently, but those 70 years of reign, they've been there with her, and she's guided them all the way. So if there could be a picture of the Queen, even 2 pictures of the Queen or more, with the family and her at the coronation, I mean, there's beautiful pictures of the Queen that could be framed and put all around the corridor. The residents would love that. It would just be very inspirational for them. It would be heartwarming. It would give solace. Some dementia residents may have a picture of the Queen in their bedroom, but if they don't, a picture of the Queen would go a long way to be able to support them, and discussion point as well. Now, the third thing that could, there's actually 2 more things. The third thing that could happen for corridors is a picture of Christianity, a picture of, Jesus Christ or the cross, Mother Mary. Really, this would be helpful in a nice corner, maybe, where the person can sit as well, maybe in the second lounge, a picture, a Christian picture for dementia residents to be able to sit with as a sort of prayer or meditation. That would be so nice. Really, wouldn't that be lovely? Because it's far more relevant for them than Africa or animals. Though they may love animals, they need something to inspire them. And many of these dementia residents, practically all dementia residents, don't get to church, even though they've been religious in their day, many of them, and gone to church regularly and would want to go. So when they're in a dementia facility, they've got nowhere for solace. The occasional room might have Mother Mary in it, the statue of Mother Mary, but that's about it. No other pictures. So if some sort of corner could be garnered in the dementia facility where, Mother Mary or Jesus Christ or some lovely pictures. So it could be like a meditative place of prayer where the person can sit and receive comfort. That would be really helpful. And the last thing I'll mention here on this video is if mirrors could be put up in the hallway. Maybe I'll do another video on that, but just briefly, non-breakable acrylic head to toe mirrors, so the dementia resident can see themselves and get body orientation, which they don't do with the small mirror in their rooms in the bathroom. So thank you for your looks. I've written these 2 books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise. Please subscribe. Thank you.